there. Welcome to Tuesday's programme with me, Anne Davis. First tonight, the bereaved parents from Nottingham demanding action from the government to better protect university students from harm. Bob and Maggie Abrahart's daughter Natasha killed herself back in 2018. She was studying at the University of Bristol. Well, today, joined by other families whose children also took their own lives at university, they were at Westminster to hand a petition into Downing Street, as Emily Anderson reports.
The families joining forces with one aim: to make sure all university students are protected from harm. They've all lost loved ones who've taken their own lives while studying at university. This lunchtime, they handed in a petition to Downing Street, calling for universities to have a legal duty of care towards students, the same duty that applies to employers to keep their staff safe at work.
We're not suggesting in loco parentis, prudent parent standard, that's for children. If you're 18, you could have a job, you will be protected under employment law with exactly the same duty of care we're asking for. Why can't an 18-year-old university student have the same rights as an 18-year-old person in the workplace?
Bob and Maggie Abrahart's daughter Natasha took her own life in 2018, on the day she was due to give a presentation as part of her studies at the University of Bristol.
She had one flaw, which is this social anxiety disorder. And on the day she died, she was going to be put through the worst possible experience of her life. A presentation in front of 50 people who were essentially strangers in a lecture theatre. As far as I can see, she had two options on that day: admit she had these problems, or do what she did. There was no real way out for her.
The couple took legal action over the university's failure to make adjustments for Natasha's social anxiety disorder. They won part of their case, but the judge wasn't satisfied the university owed Natasha a duty of care. This is why the Abraharts want new legislation.
It wasn't at all just about what happened on the 30th of April. It's about the 6 months before then. She had an assessment, she wasn't able to do them, no one was telling them what was happening with her marks, she wasn't getting her lab book marked, and over that period of 6 months she had increasing levels of distress.
The government has misunderstood the situation. We will explain it to them very clearly. It's such an obvious misunderstanding. We believe once they understand the problem, they will help us solve it.
The families say they hope their petition, which has more than 100,000 signatures, will now be considered for a parliamentary debate.
Well, Emily's with me now. Bob Abrahart, that we saw there, Natasha's father. I mean, he's meeting with politicians right now, isn't he? But what have we heard so far from the government?
Well, Anne, it will be really interesting to find out what's being said between Bob and those politicians tonight. I know that the Abraharts have been preparing for a long time for this meeting. I'm sure we'll find out more details in due course. What we do know is the government has said that universities already have what they call a general duty of care. Now, a spokesperson for the Department for Education has said, "We acknowledge the profound and lasting impact that a young person's suicide can have on family and friends, but they feel that further legislation that the Abraharts and other families are calling for, where such a duty already exists, they say, would be disproportionate response."
Now, we know that Natasha was studying at Bristol University when she died. Have they said anything?
Yeah, University of Bristol have spoken to us previously through a statement saying that every single member of staff cares deeply about the welfare of students. As with all universities, they said they provide a wide range of pastoral support services which can be easily accessed by students. Part of that support involves access to things like NHS services and other providers, which they say was the case in Natasha's case.
OK, Emily, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much indeed for that.